I really did gain 170 pounds just on vegan food. And then I lost 100 of it without exercise. Um, let's talk about how I got so fat. Um, and like everything, it goes back to my childhood. Um, we didn't have food scarcity as a child, but we did have tension around food. Like, I remember getting yelled at for eating someone else's food, getting yelled at for not eating everything on my dinner plate, getting yelled at for eating too much because I was fat. Like, just, there was no consistency, I guess. And I mean, when I was like in junior high, my mom put me on the cabbage soup diet, which should tell you how old I am. It's basically women would like chop up a cabbage and like an onion and put it in the crock pot with water and make cabbage soup, and it would like liquefy your insides so you'd lose like 2 pounds or whatever. And then if you actually stayed on the diet, you'd be malnourished. um, yeah, so I remember being put on that. i remember I remember there was this time when my sister and my stepdad were fighting at the dinner table about her not cleaning her plate. And you could tell, like, he really wanted to hit her. He didn't. But what he did was he came up and grabbed her by the back of the head and slammed her face down into her mashed potatoes and just rubbed it there like she was a dog. And I mean, it was traumatic. It still is traumatic for me. So I can't imagine what it was like for her because she was only in elementary school when this happened. She was a kid. I remember seeing my mom binge and purge. I remember my step grandfather calling me a fat dyke at the Easter table and being embarrassed about the fat part because I didn't know what the D word was. Um, so yeah, so there was a lot of tension around food, like I said, growing up. And, you know, throughout high school and college and grad school, I struggled with my weight. I was completely unable to lose weight, so I was fat the whole time. I ended up giving up um, in grad school and really embracing the fat acceptance movement, like health at any size, and that was great for my self esteem. And I actually ended up losing a little bit of weight. Um, so that kind of ended about 15 years ago. I When I got my dream job, I I shouldn't say where it was. I had this job where it was fulfilling. It felt like it was important, but it was also really stressful. Um, and over the next 6 or 7 years, I ended up stress eating my way from 180 to 250. That was an alarm on my phone. So I ended up stress eating until I was 250 pounds. And I had gone vegan right before I got this job. So it was all vegan junk food, like brownies made with flaxseed instead of eggs, um, Ben and Jerry's non dairy ice cream. Um, yeah, so I got up to 250, and then the job changed and became even more stressful. And I ended up, between then and the pandemic, when I lost that job, um, I gained another 100 pounds. So I gained 170 pounds total over less than a decade. Um, the stretch marks are horrific. Uh, so I got to a point where I was so fat that I couldn't exercise, which is why I say that I lost 100 pounds without exercise. I couldn't jump, still can't. I was walking with a cane. I remember there was this one time where my partner went to the grocery store and I got down on the ground for some reason, and I couldn't get back up. And I tried, you know, crawling over to the couch to help, pull myself up, and I couldn't crawl because it hurt my knees too badly. And he came home like 45 minutes later, um, to see me just sobbing hysterically because I couldn't get up. And then we had to do this whole production with like a chair and the coffee table to pull me up. Um, and I mean, the worst, what made me really say like I've got to fucking change, was um when I one day couldn't wipe myself anymore. I couldn't reach around, and we ended up having to get a bidet so that I could, go to the bathroom and clean myself. Um yeah, so it was at that point that I decided I'm not doing this anymore, and I lost 100 pounds after that. Over the course of 2 years, I lost 100 pounds, basically from not eating so much. There was a little more to it than that, but I can talk about that later. Um, yeah, I am now at 250 and want to lose another 125 pounds. And that's basically what this channel is going to be, following me trying to lose weight and learn to exercise again. I've maintained the 250 for over a year, which I'm super proud of because most people, gain it all back after they lose it. Um, so I know now how to maintain, and am hopeful that once I lose this next 100, I'm gonna be able to keep it off. I know it's gonna be really hard, like harder than it was last time, but um, I've done it before, so I know I can do it again. And that's all I have to say right now.